We're the largest physical department in the federal government. We're bigger than the standing army. Everybody's going to have a problem. There's not a business or a hospital in this world that doesn't have some kind of issues that we know to. But what I'm committed to doing is fixing those problems. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen. Some of it's going to happen overnight, but most of it's going to take time to get there, because when you have a 450,000 person department, 300, almost 400 of that is in the VHA side. It takes a while to unlearn bad habits, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can also just contextualize the scale of the organization. I mean, we're talking about supporting over 16 million veterans, medical services to about 9 million of those, 172 medical facilities, over 1,300 outpatient sites. In 2024 alone, the VA paid $173 billion in disability compensation and pensions, and then indications are, and certainly better than what I've researched on the Google, but we're looking at somewhere of a request over $440 billion going into 2026 to fund operations. I mean,
it's going to be close to about $500 billion. So we're getting close. I mean, we're the largest physical department in the federal government. We're bigger than the standing army. Mm-hmm. So active duty army, we're bigger than the active duty army. And the only reason, one of the reasons is there's a couple that spend more money than us. That'd be HHS, because they got the federal health programs and stuff, and DOD, which of course combines the services under their one roof. So again, it's a massive undertaking, and anybody to think that you can turn this on a dime. I was one that was hoping there's some things you could turn quicker. We're turning it. But this is aircraft carrier turning. This isn't my pontoon boat on Lanier.
Well, I think it's important too to note that not only operationally the size and scale is absolutely massive and one of the largest, but when you talk about the moral side of America's commitment to its veterans, America's commitment to its people and society, because when we look at asking our young Americans to serve their country and join the military, I often say that we have a duty to those people. Mm-hmm. We have a duty to not only leverage their capabilities while in service, but then return them to society, a better version of themselves to contribute to society. And that's where the VA really steps in.
It does. And I think that's become, over time, it's become a harder and harder issue for us. And it's not that we can't, but I think there's a lot of issues. And one of the big things that I told Pete Hesses about this, Pete and I talk a good bit, and I said, Pete, you got to understand, if they have a bad experience with you, then they're going to have a warped experience of what they're going to get in the VA, and vice versa. If they've had a parent or something who had a bad experience in the VA, then they're going to be, it's going to affect recruitment and everything else. So we've always viewed this, from my perspective, since I've been here, is defense and VA are fraternal twins. We do the same people, just in different functions of their life. And I think that's something, transition is a huge issue that we have to deal with. I make the comment all the time, DOD owns it, I get blamed for it. And we're trying to fix that, because there's just, I think Pete's dead on, I think the president's dead on. He gave us two very different visions, I guess. He wanted the Secretary of Defense to have a warrior ethos mindset, fight and win our wars, which was always what we were supposed to have done. And he told me to take care of our veterans. And those are very similar in what they say, but they're very committed, as you said, to taking care of those veterans and making sure that the military experience in their life is a plus and not a negative when they get out.
You took the seat and were confirmed in February of so earlier this year in 2025. You're the 12th Secretary of the VA. Why'd you want to lead the VA? I mean, outside of when the president calls and says you want to lead the VA, it's probably hard to say no, but why?
Yeah. Have you ever met the president?
I haven't.
It's sort of hard to say no to him. He is a very charismatic person and a very great leader. But I think, for me, at first there was a lot of discussion about, places I could serve and help. And, and I was, Lisa and I, very frankly, were very happy with what we're doing. There was some stuff I was taking care of from my time in Congress. I was able to, I worked a lot with criminal justice reform. I worked with intellectual property. I was having it was good. But I saw what this country was needing, and I knew that President Trump needed to come back in. And he and I talked about it. But when it came up in the discussion of veterans came up, it said, maybe this is, I believe God takes you down a different path. And you may not know why you're doing it at the time, but it reveals itself in time. And I can show that in earlier parts of my career as well. But for this one, I'm the first secretary, cabinet level secretary of the VA that had been a member of Congress since the very first, back 35 years ago. So it's been a long time. So I understand the Hill. we can agree, disagree. I appreciate the folks up there, but I've been where they're at, so it's not a new thing for me. It's not like, well, I don't know what you do. I know exactly what they do. And so I think that is very important for us to work together as a department. But also, I've been a veteran. I mean, I've been in the military now for 24 years, Air Force. I was in it for about 2.5, roughly, or so with the Navy. I actually served with the Marines while I was in the Navy. I'm a chaplain, so I got a lot of experience. So I've deployed. I've been to those areas. So for me, it became a culmination of saying, this is a perfect place for this, but also to take a perspective that we're going to put veterans first. And I come at it not as wanting to keep an agency together, so to speak, in the sense of agency first. It's no, we're a service organization that takes care of veterans.